Let's go Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo. I'm losing my hair. Way. I sound a little better doing that than my singing. But anyway, the Buffalo Bills won again. They swept the East. That was one of my predictions, by the way. And I remember saying, hey, they're going to go 12-4. And don't be surprised if they go 13-3. And they went 13-3. Welcome, everybody. Buffalo Will, joined by everybody's favorite cousin, your cousin Vinny. What up, bro?
What's up? What's up? What's up? Yeah, man, you kind of pegged it, man. I went back to our preseason predictions, and I actually said 12, 11 and 5, 10 and 6, and then a couple shows later with the acquisition of Diggs, I said we will go 12 and 4, 11 and 5. But you did say they could possibly do better, which I didn't think so. They surpassed my expectations. I'm excited about that. But you did say we might have split. I don't think you said we were gonna sweep the East. I believe you said we might have split a game with the Jets.
I said,
if I can recall,
I said we can sweep, but one team scares me, and it was the Jets. I thought the Jets would play us tougher, but I did say I could see us sweeping the East, like going on. If you watch the whole show, I remember saying it. And it's funny that you went back to watch and be like, yo, did Will really say that? That's my stuff, man.
No, I wasn't doing it for you. I was trying to remember what I actually said so I could keep it real. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I actually said that we would split with New England and split with the Jets. So I had us going 4-2 in the division. We swept the division 6-0. I'm super excited about that. It's never been done in Buffalo Bills history, sweeping the East, and that's another milestone, record after record after record. These Bills are just so impressive right now. They're playing at their – I don't even think it's at their peak right now, but they're gelling really well right now. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to Saturday, 1:05 p.m.
Yeah. Hold on. By the way, I got to go into my handy-dandy Yankee. I got to get one of these for the Bills. Get our cool as we always do to celebrate a win. So let me grab my little medallion here. And let's do this. To all the Bills fans over there, to you, cheers for the victory, for winning the AFC East, for sweeping.
This for Pancho. This for Pancho Billa.
There you go. Pancho, there you go, watching from up top. Congrats.
That's right. Salud, my brother. Here's to another Bills victory.
Yes, cheers to that. Now, talking about that, Miami, there you go. I thought it was going to be a better game than that, but holy cow. The Bills showed up. The defense showed up. The offense made that defense look silly. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be a closer game. I thought it was going to be hopefully we were able to sit the players at halftime, and the Bills came in and they went off, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, in the beginning, the first quarter, it was a little bit tight. They took the lead 3-0. I thought it was going to be, here we go. It's going to be we're going to have to grind this out. And all of a sudden, Josh just went off. And me and you were talking, texting back and forth, and I thought they would pull him out before the half. But, he played a little bit longer than I expected. The good thing about it is the backup quarterback, the backup receiver, everybody that came in, including the backup running back, they all played like they were first-string players, man. Even our everything just gelled. The offense, we put up 56 points on them. The defense held them. They got some garbage points in there, but they had Tua on the run, 3 picks. Special teams, Isaiah McKenzie had a punt return, the first one for the year for the Bills, which came at the right time. So everything right now is just falling in place. Some teams, like in Pittsburgh, they started off, they were 11-0. Now you see their defects and how things are kind of like crumbling apart, even though they won against last week. But they're still not a team like
the Browns.
Bills, Huh?
They lost
the Browns.
Browns.
Granted, they had their backups in also, but the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't what they were in the beginning of the season, to where we had a couple little losses, against Kansas City, the Hail Murray thing. There was a little time that, a period where Josh was doing really well in the beginning of the season. Then he had that shoulder injury. So, he was sailing the ball, but now he's healed up. He's seeing the field in such a different way. I'm just excited because they're gelling in every single phase of the game at the right time.
Yeah, no, I agree. And having issues over here with my computer. But anyway, I agree, man. And everybody came in, played well. Antonio Williams coming in, carrying the ball like he did. I didn't think it was that good, but I'm right now.
Very impressive.
I think he should play this week. He was on point. I'm not saying give him 1,000 carries, but he played well. The defense shut them down, and they already had people already questioning about Tua. I was reading, should Miami draft another quarterback? And it's crazy because, like I said, if it was Fitzpatrick, I think it would have been a closer game. Personally, I would have started Fitzpatrick, but they didn't have that option this week because of COVID. But I bet you right now, Fitzpatrick, if he was healthy, he probably would have been playing that second half to try to get back into that game, or they would have pulled Tua in a heartbeat.
He scares me more than Tua. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I agree with you. He'll throw the ball, and I wasn't, even though we beat Miami, I was kind of looking to see how Tua would actually play and see the potential. I'm not really impressed with the dude, man. The accuracy issues, the short little. I mean, he was just the coordinator was trying to just give him little dink and doink passes, and he wasn't even completing half of them. Hey, it ain't that easy like you thought it was gonna be, right?
Exactly. See, these are words coming back to haunt him and bite him in the butt. So, what's it called? Let me see here. Anyway, they did great. Everybody looked good. McKenzie, I'm sorry, but I think Andre Roberts only had this 1 year, right? Left on his contract. They signed him for a year. I think McKenzie might be taking that job next year. He's on a 1 year also. So let's see what happens. But that doesn't matter. That's next year's stuff. Let's continue here. As a result of that game, where's this man over here? Again, here you can read this for his accomplishments. Go ahead, go out there.
Yeah, Josh Allen has been named AFC Offensive Player of the Month. Allen, who has also earned the honor in September, joins Thurman Thomas in 1991 and Bruce Smith in 1996 as the only players in team history to earn 2 Player of the Month awards in one season. Over the Bills' final 5 games, Allen completed 129 of 184 passes for 1,516 yards, 15 touchdowns, and a 117.5 passer rating, while adding 110 yards rushing and 2 rushing touchdowns. Allen earned 2 Player of the Week awards during that span for his performance and wins over the 49ers in December 12th.
This guy, he's going crazy, man. And
he's lining it up, man.
There's so many more what's it called? Accolades this guy's been doing this year. He broke how many franchise records? He's broken. Let me see. I know I had some over here. Allen's the first player in league history with over 4,500 passing yards, 35 touchdowns, and 5 rushing TDs in a single season. How is he not getting more play for this MVP? Allen led all players on the playoff teams in accounting for the highest percentage of his team's offensive touchdowns. 82.1%. Aaron Rodgers is second with 79.7. Russell 76.4. He is fourth, I believe, all yards in for the NFL, only behind Rodgers. I mean, he's in front of Rodgers, but behind Mahomes. This guy, it just keeps going and going, and he's putting up crazy numbers. This guy's gone crazy this year. And people to still push him away. I mean, he's getting a little talk for the MVP, but I think he should be getting more. And I'm not just hamming it because I'm a Bills fan. He's putting in the work and he's doing stuff. Nobody would have thought that Allen would be putting up these numbers, that he would be competing or close to Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes amongst the other guys. Nobody would have thought that. Nobody.
Nah, and especially when he had that injury in the beginning of the middle of the season where he hurt his left shoulder. So his numbers weren't all that great. They were, because he was in the talk for MVP in the beginning of the season with the numbers he was putting in. He was lighting it up. Then he got hurt, so people are already down, talking him. But imagine if he didn't get injured, the numbers he might have put up. He probably could have put up 500-600 more yards, 400 yards, and would have taken command of that MVP title, in my opinion. But getting back to Miami, also, we were talking about Tua. I don't mean to go back on that, but I mean he had 3 picks against us. That was one more than he had the whole season. He had 356 yards, but it was garbage. It was just, I wasn't impressed. I don't mean to go back to it, but I was a little nervous about that game because we were playing the number 1 defense scoring wise, and that was a great test for Josh Allen. And the thing about Josh Allen and company is that they're having fun out there, man. You can see every time, and the love for each other and the camaraderie. They're excited for each other. It's just, I haven't seen that in a long time, man, since the 90s. And it feels good. It feels weird to be blowing teams out. Like, it felt weird. I told you the week before when we blew out New England, it felt weird blowing out Miami. So I hope that carries on in the playoffs. This Colts game is going to be a very important game. We'll talk about that matchup in a little while. But, yeah, man, I just had to go back to that Miami game real quick because it seems surreal. We played them really well. I mean, we beat Miami in the beginning of the season. It was a closer game. But, man, to put up 56 on them, man, I to be honest with you, I expected, a closer game. I never expected to put up 56 points, man. That's crazy.
Me neither. I wouldn't have thought it. And what's even nuts is that most of the starters were sitting after the half.
Yeah.
They stepped up, throwing it on, man. The nice pass, like you said, actually you brought Barkley to Davis, was on point. Davis caught that just on his fingertips. They just kept rushing. Everything looked good. Your boy Josh, that was one predicament I had. That didn't come true. I thought he would lead the NFL in picks, but he didn't really play the nickel like I thought. And he was out for a while with all the, COVID and the injuries and so forth. But even he had a nice little pick 6 for a touchdown. I could see him getting more play this week, against Phillip Rivers. But again, like you said, we'll talk about that. As always, for the last few weeks, I've been grabbing the Bills McDermott's speeches. So I'm going to play this right now. Let's listen up.
Great job. Give yourself what I love about it, man. Didn't start out our way, right? Didn't start out, but nobody lost their mind, right? We stayed poised, stayed calm, executed at a high level. Now listen, humble and hungry, right? Goes a long way. Goes a long way. We're about ready to start the second season, and we need everyone. That's right. Need everyone.
And everything we want in front of us to put ourselves in a good position. So execute, do what we want to do. Win on 3, 1, 2, 3. Win!
As always, I got these off the Buffalo Bills Twitter page or their PR site. Kenny from the K&K show said, "Good evening, Buffalo Will and Cousin Vin, a.k.a. the best Bills show on the planet." Thanks for that, Kenny. I'll be a little biased, but I'll take it. It's like always, you listen to these guys and they're talking. Actually, this one I could have put it out. There it is. McDermott always keeps it, man. Stay humble, keep going. And the guys have bought into it, and they keep with that same mindset. Everybody's playing and thinking as one, which is great. Great things to see from this team, man. And they got a tough game coming up. We'll talk about it a little later. But as always, man, they're putting in the work. Okay, real quick, what else do? We always talk about other things in the news. Some of the players. You know what? We'll touch on that. I don't know if you ended up watching that garbage game to try to get into the playoffs between Philly and the Giants. A lot of people are talking about it. All right. A lot of people were mad with, was it Peterson or whatever, for taking out Hurts during the game, thinking, hey, we play to win the game. We should have won the game. They put in some other guy. I forgot his name, some scrub. Maybe just to see what he was able to do. Hurts had 2 rushing touchdowns, but he wasn't throwing for touchdowns. The one play I did see was there was a wide receiver in the back of the end zone wide open, and he threw it probably a yard short at the guy's feet. And then they went for the 4th, missed. So I think he had enough and said, you know what? I'm tired of looking at this. And pulled them. You get to the point, it didn't matter if they won or lost, okay? You win one spot, one game, you might move up in the standings. Maybe. I mean, for your
Yeah.
pick. For the pick, you're not getting in the playoffs.
I think they would have, if they would have lost, if they would have won, they would have had the 9th pick, and being pretty much they threw the game. They moved up to the 6th pick. But I'm surprised Bobby hasn't chimed in yet, because Bobby Blackjack Garrenti was furious. He was fuming about what transpired between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. And it was a little bit weird. It kind of did look like they threw the game by putting the backup in, but who knows what the real purpose is. But I know he's on the hot seat now for that.
Well, this is Kurt saying what's up from the K&K show. Also, here you go, Will and Van. Josh Allen, you want $35 million a year. You got to go. You got 2 playoff games at home. Win both. Get the AFC Championship. Here's your $35 million. If not, talk to me next year. He's pretty much saying earn it. Win some playoff games before they pay him. Even though he says, hey, Bills win Saturday. So that's good from Kurt. You go ahead, touch on it real quick, because I told him on his show, I'm paying Allen right now. The guy's gotten better.
Man. You got to pay the man. I mean, he's breaking – you got to pay the man. He's breaking franchise records. He's in the run for MVP. I mean, if you don't pay the man, then you got to get another quarterback in and start the whole process again. And it doesn't solely lay on the quarterback's shoulders. There's a lot of variables. He could have a good game, and then the defense not have a good game and cost the game in the playoffs. We don't know what's going to happen yet. So, but what he has done up to this point, I think he's worthy of that big paycheck, because he's MVP, in the talks for MVP. He's broke franchise records, and he's just throwing up numbers, and he's just getting better. You don't see somebody to go from 58% accuracy one year to go up to 70%. It's kind of unheard of. The pundits are saying you can't teach accuracy, this and that, but he proved them wrong. I mean, he bettered himself by 12 points in accuracy in 1 year, and he's just throwing up big numbers, man. And he's a double threat. He could run on you. He really hasn't had to run that much this year like last year. And another thing is the stupid mistakes that he was doing, the stupid little shuffle passes, and when he got out of his comfort zone, he would make freaky mistakes. He's limited those too. So he's just developing, and he's just getting better and better and better. Had he been declining in productivity and decision making and so on and so forth, then I'd be like skeptical. But you got to give that man his money, man. Show him the money.
Yeah, and you know what? One thing, just to say to Kurt, let's say he does win this year or whatever, or if he doesn't, maybe he wins one game. Hopefully we go all the way. But even if he wins one game, do you pay him $35 million? Maybe, because you know what? Let's say the next year he has the same or even a better year. That $35 million just jumped to possibly $40 million, let's just say. Yeah. So it keeps adding up, and that's the way I say these contracts are a little out of hand for the quarterbacks, but it's just the way the market is right now.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
It's a little nuts.
They're ridiculous. And another point, you gotta. There's a lot of variables to consider. I mean, even Brian Daboll has been offered a couple jobs for the Jets. They're not offered yet. They asked to interview them. The Jets and the Chargers. So me and you spoke about that a couple shows back. I know he's a Buffalo hometown guy. Man, he's already got 5 rings. You know what I mean? But does he really want that head coaching job, or does he want to stay in Buffalo and keep mentoring and keep running offensive ways? In the beginning of the season, they were calling for his head. You know that? They were like, oh, he's too conservative. What are we going to do? We got to get rid of him, this and that. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, hey, he's a genius, we can talk about that if you want. I don't know what's going to happen with that Brian Daboll situation, but I'd really love for him to stay.
In a little, but I don't think he is. Your goal is to become a coach, Touching back on this real question, what is this? My question about the situation is, if you're a free agent and the Eagles and Giants both say you have a starting job and it's yours to lose, who do you sign with? At this point, I might sign with the Giants. I think they have a little better of a team. But let me finish up on that other thing before. Personally, Philly didn't own anything to the Giants, and they don't own anything to Washington. Maybe they don't like Joe Judge. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't have had. I might have kept Hurts in because this is his first year and he didn't play the whole season. So maybe I would have said, go over there, take your lumps, because next year I want to see what you could do. Maybe he just got tired of seeing it, brought in the other quarterback. Kelsey coming out and some of the other players getting all mad about it. Why? Honestly, Kelsey had a big cast on his arm for how long? He shouldn't have even been in that game. Starter should have been sitting on the side. Anybody banged up, sit on the side, heal up. You don't own anything to anybody. And me, if I was the owner, Mara, or the GM of the Giants, I would have said, Joe Judge, shut your mouth because you sound kind of dumb to me. Why? Win your games. The NFC East was an embarrassment. Win your games.
Yeah.
Don't rely on your rival to win a game and hope your other rival loses just so you can get into the playoffs. Stop it. It didn't matter. They didn't have to win. They weren't playing for anything. If I want to sit my players, I sit them, and I say, Joe Judge, shut your mouth. Go. To me, it was just.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like what Joe Judge is doing over there. I like what he's doing with the Giants. I think they're going to be pretty good next year. But in retrospect, you're right. You have to win your games and not rely on scenarios like we got in when Cincinnati.
Yeah. But that wasn't
one
like
for us that we had to wait on that. But now we hold our destiny. When you win games, you don't have to worry about stuff like that. So
exactly.
In that retrospect, I agree with you.
That's like McDermott getting upset, let's say at the Patriots for not winning their last home game or not starting their starters, and we missed the playoffs because if they would have beat that team, we would have got in. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if it was okay, you ask, oh man, they could have helped us out. Maybe that. But that, to me, it was just dumb. And to Kenny, I would side with the Giants.
I was getting flack about the Bills running the numbers up on whatchamacallit on Miami last week. I got a couple of messages like, oh man, the Bills didn't have to do all that. I was like, listen, the backup quarterback came in there. I even thought when Matt Barkley came in, I was like, okay, now we're gonna run the rock. It's just gonna be handoff, run the rock. But he wasn't playing. He was chucking it up there. He wants to let people know, God forbid something happens to Josh Allen, that we could rely on him. And I mean, he gave me a little bit more boost in terms of confidence. God forbid something happens, because this is a game of, you could get injured at any given play, and a lot of these teams, Green Bay, for example, if their quarterback gets hurt, they don't really have a good backup. And I'm more comfortable knowing that we have a decent backup that's not scared to throw the ball.
I wouldn't take it all that far because, Barkley, he's played one good game, and I think that was last year against the Jets or so forth. I mean, you can't blame the Bills from running up the number. Like you said, most of the starters were sitting. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Backup receivers were there, our backup running back, our third running back, because you pretty much split time with Zach and Singletary. So most of the guys were gone. It was their fault. They gave up. Their defense wasn't stopping it. So they pretty much just said, hey, we're not coming back from this. And that was it. Getting back real quick to Kenny's question here. I would sign with the Giants. I think the Giants are on an upswing. I think Philly's going backwards, especially with that problem with Carson Wentz. If they get rid of him, they're eating up a lot of dead money. Another guy, Beelan, he's from the K&K show also. I hate Josh Allen, but the kid got a solid team around him and is well coached. Beelan, what are you thinking of this guy? See, he had to say solid team around him, He could have just said, the guy's pretty good, Beelan's a Jet fan. Probably have Brian Dable as his coach next year. But he ain't going to be able to do.
Beelan, I'm going to tell you something. He doesn't like Josh, but you got to credit Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott because, okay, they're giving Josh Allen the weapons. They know he had the arm. They know he has the strength. They know he has all the tools. But what's great about Beane and McDermott, they actually got the tools. They got Stephon Diggs, which is the number one receiver in the NFL right now. Me and you talked about that trade on how much it cost. I thought it was kind of worth it the way he played, and now it's really proven that it was well worth it. We gave up a first round, a second round, a fourth and a fifth round. But, I mean, look at the numbers. He's the number one receiver in the NFL. We still got John Brown. John Brown was our number one receiver. Now he's the number two. You know what I mean? And we got Beasley. Gabriel Davis has been balling out. the tight end situation, I think, we could improve on that. Maybe
Yeah.
off season, these guys get a little bit better. But other than that, man, I know that he really doesn't like Josh, but the kid had raw talent. Brandon Bean saw it. The kid on his own, we've been following before the season. We were following Josh Allen, and he was going to California, going to Florida, inviting the receivers and working out on his own. So, I mean, the kid has the fire, the desire. And if you see that last game in Houston playoff game, when we lost, that was his defining moment. He was just sitting there and you could see it on his face. He was dejected. He was hurt. And he said from that moment on, it's on. And he's been proving it.
Listen, yeah, there's good people around them. I thought the Jets were going to be better than what they were. I said in the beginning of the year, I thought they'd be a lot better. Not so much just Gase, but I thought they were going to be good. One thing here, real quick, Kenny saying the point he's making is if a player is coming in and wants to play with a coach or whatever, honestly, at 4-10, you're not making the playoffs. You already know you're out of it. If I'm a veteran player and I know, okay, that's pretty much my defensive end spot next year, I know I'm going to get it or whatever, let these kids play. Let me see what they could do. I'll just, if I'm banged up and there's no way we're getting to the playoffs, don't play me. I don't care. The only problem is some of these guys have incentives, so they want to reach their incentives. But if you're going to go out there, listen, I want to win also. But if it's the last game of the year, you're 4-10 or whatever you are, and there's nothing to play with, take them out. I don't care, unless, I'm going to help somebody or like it's really shady. Play your rookies, play those guys who might earn a spot. We didn't have a preseason. Let's see what you could do against the big boys in the last game of the year that doesn't cost anything. So I wouldn't even care, honestly, with that one. Kenny, you got another question. You got to give the Jets fans a pass. In the 90s, the Bills were the team. Then in the 200s, until the last year, the Pats were on top of each year. Going back, the Bills. So it's going back to the Bills. I get it. There was a point the Jets were pretty good. They lost to the Broncos in the AFC division title or conference title at the end of the year. I thought they were going to win that game, and then they collapsed in the second half. The Jets did have a few years that they were up there. I didn't like to see it because we weren't doing much, but it's like a lot of GM bad moves to me. They started like cutting players. They had Braylon Edwards. They had, I don't know if what's his name was still there, Corbett, but they were doing some runs those years. And then they started Anthony Beck, their tight end, was pretty good, but he had injury problems. They started letting people go. And when that happened, look at Sanchez declined. All your players decline. They show who they are because they don't have all those weapons.
And one thing, to make a good point also real quick is, this year the Bills have dominated. But next year, I think the AFC East is going to be the division. I think Miami's going to be good.
Yep.
I got to see who they're going to sign in terms of, New England as a quarterback. And when those guys that opted out last year come back, New England going to be no joke either. The Jets, I'm a little questionable. It's a little questionable with them because they don't have a head coach yet. They still have Sam Darnold. So, I mean, I think Sam Darnold's a great player. I think he's a great quarterback, to be honest with you. So, being that they're not going to get that first-round pick, that first pick, I think, they're going to have to work around Sam Darnold, I believe. And let's see who the head coach is going to be, whether Dayball or whoever it's going to be. I think they're probably out another year or two before they really get into the rhythm. I think they're going to stay in the bottom of the AFC East. But that AFC East probably, if Tua matures a little bit better, I think it's going to be a tighter race than what it was this week. We're not going to sweep the East next year. I don't believe so. But
I don't think so.
Time to tell. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The Jets are going to have I don't know if it's $70-80 million. They have the number 2 overall pick. They have 5 picks in the first round. Unless they mess it up, which they shouldn't, you got these picks, you're looking good. And if you make the right moves in free agency, me personally, if I don't trade down, I keep Darnold. I think he has 2 years left or something like that. I'd keep Darnold this year. If I don't move at number 2, I'd take the best offensive guard or offensive tackle. Better that line, If you need to make a trade for a receiver out there, go ahead, do it. You have collateral. If not, draft one use one of your top 5 picks on a receiver or 2 receivers. I didn't think a Perryman, he was hurt. Their other receiver, what's his name in the slot? He got most of their guys got hurt, so it wasn't like they were fully like healthy. They were banged up a lot, and their defense was out there a lot. So I gave Greg Williams credit for that, but Gase shouldn't have been there. This team will be better next year, like you said. If no more people jump ship in New England, everybody starts coming back. They got themselves a pretty good quarterback. There it is again. We're going to be dealing with them. And Miami's young, and they have a bunch of picks this year also. So everybody's just getting better. It's all going to come down to who has the most money, and the Jets do. And if they don't waste it, like without thinking, like giving Bell, I forgot how many $1 million a year, and then look at they traded him 2 years later. That's a waste of money.
Yep.
Let's move on from there. One time, coach, actually after this whole debacle over there in Philly, 2 days later, hey, Jim Schwartz, who was one time our defensive coach of for 1 year in Buffalo, he announced that he's stepping away from coaching. He's 56 years old, and he's like, I'm stepping away. So I don't know if it's just the whole crap that went down in Philly, or, according to him, he doesn't have it right now. Maybe in the future he'll get it back, but he doesn't feel like he could commit 100%. All the news, which we already know, we're coming on Thursday from the past week. At the end of the season, the Jets finally got rid of Gase. At one point, I was thinking, hey, these crazy Jets might keep this guy for another year. But I think they would have stormed the building like they did the Capitol building yesterday. The Jet fans would have stormed over there at MetLife if they would have kept Gase. Not to make fun of that stuff. And then one time, Bills assistant coach also, Anthony Lynn, got let go from the Chargers. Saw that coming. Yeah. They could love the guy all they want, but he hasn't been winning. And they have a lot of talent on that team. So,
is that somebody you think, Brian Daboll, if he was to leave? Well, I think that would be one of the candidates for offensive coordinator. I believe he could come back over here to Buffalo, even though, well, what do you think about that?
I saw that. I think somebody there was an article about that. Hey, if Brian Daboll's gone, why not? I don't know if he has ties to the McDermott and Bean, but yeah, he was in Buffalo before. Why not? We're going to need an offensive coach. As long as they don't get Adam Gase, I think I'm okay. Looking at that, I don't want him. So if they bring back
I think Daboll's going to wind up, if he does take a head coaching job, I think he might wind up going to San Diego, because I think he went to high school with the GM over there. I think from what I read, he's got some ties with the GM. Yeah, they went to the same high school. I hate to see him go. You know what I mean? And Anthony, I think Lynn will do a good job here. And there's some talks of maybe even Ken Dorsey, being in the mix for that too. But it's all premature. I don't even want to talk about it until we win it. We get the ship, and then we could talk about it. Other than that, it's all speculation.
No, sounds good. Let's see, real quick. Browns, they're still having COVID problems over there. They have 7 players off the 53-man roster that are on the COVID still, and they might not be able to play this week. 2 from the practice squad have COVID, and their head coach, supposedly he's going to miss this game too because of it. So that's just stacking more up against this poor Cleveland Browns team heading into Pittsburgh. One note for next year, Joe Burrow set to return supposedly for the first game of the season, coming off his knee injury. They're saying his therapy is going better than they expected. Kenny, I could see the Jets bringing in a low-profile coach with a lot of assistant coaches with head coach experience, offensive coach Bill O'Brien, Pat Patricia types. I would be surprised to see Pat Patricia come here. I think we touched on it on your show at one point, on their show, the K&K show, that maybe McDaniel goes somewhere and takes Patricia with him as his defensive coordinator, which is a possibility. I don't know. We'll see. I honestly think they're going to go after Daboll to see if he could do with Bradford what he's done with Allen. But again, me personally, I've said this before. Listen, I like Bradford, but I think Bradford's almost hitting his ceiling. While Allen still has cap to grow. Bradford could get polished up some. but I don't think he's as good as everybody thought he was when he came out. That's just me. Kenny also got one of you. I have a question for you both. Chiefs are clear-cut favorite. In your opinion to the game, who is an under-the-radar guy that can step up either on offense or defense in these playoffs? Are you talking about just between, I guess the Bills and the Chiefs, or the Bills? Bills, I think the one guy who's going to be big this week, to me, would be Matt Milano.
Absolutely.
He's going to have to be all over, and they're going to have to stop that run.
You took the words out of my mouth, man.
That would be mine for the Bills. Chiefs, I'm not sure. So, not even thinking about those guys right now. What happened to Vinny? Vinny disappeared on me. What the heck? Oh, he's cut. It's not connected. Something happened. Here it goes, Vinny now. He's coming back. Hopefully we get Vinny, but I'll keep going. Jets. Here, Vinny's back now. Sorry, man. Why did you taking breaks? You give me taking breaks during the show, man.
I was in the middle of agreeing with you. Maybe something glitched because me and you usually don't agree, but I agree. Yeah. I'm gonna get my point. I agree. Matt Milano needs to be is going to be the player that we need to step up the most. Him and Tremaine Edmonds, because if they stop that run, because Jonathan Taylor, that's what they're going to come to do. The Colts are going to come and try to pound the ball, and get that lead. If we get a 10, 14-point lead, Rivers is going to have to pass, and they're not really that great at passing. Their strong point is their running game. I mean, Jonathan Taylor had 200+ yards, almost 240 yards. 150 yards last week. So if Matt Milano steps up and Tremaine, those two, if those two step up, I think we'll be okay, because the offense, anybody can step it up, in terms of the receivers. So I'm not worried about the offense. If those two linebackers step it up and stop that run, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So that's my answer, Milano and Edmonds.
Yep, I agree. The linebackers are going to be busy. And not even them. The defensive tackles need to slow down the guys too. All of them. The whole D needs to, but I think my main guy would be Matt Milano. He's the X factor to me. Yeah. Other than that, actually, we got some other news we got to touch on real quick. This guy over here, Corey Bojorquez, led the NFL in gross punt average yards, 50.8, and he only had 41 punts this year. That's pretty damn impressive.
Josh Allen had more touchdowns than he had punts.
Yeah. Okay. This guy, man, Tyler Bass, the rookie, came in. He set a team record for points with 141. I know you and I agree on this. To me, I look at the kickers, and it's a lot easier to put on 3 points and 3 points and 3 points. So that whole, team leading score thing should be separated for me as a kicker, because it's a lot harder to get points as a running back and a wide receiver than it is as a kicker. But kudos to him for setting the team record. And he passed Steve Christie too, I believe, right? And then
he's a leader now. And how many people are calling for him to call him for another kicker just because he missed 1 or 2 games? You got to give. We talked about that in the beginning. You got to let the kid get comfortable, and he sure did. And he's proven that he's an elite kicker too. He's gonna get a good paycheck soon too, because he's got the leg. He's got the leg, and when you kick in Buffalo, it's a hard place to kick. So that's why Christie, they're all good. Norwood, all those guys were good because of the place that they kicked in.
Yeah.
Even though Scott Norwood, I wish he kicked on the turf, but.
Yeah, I think. Well, they're not going to pay him anytime soon. He's a rookie, so he's got 5-year deal, probably a 4-year deal. So they got him at a cheap price for now. They got to love it. The red helmets. They were saying. I remember Jim Kelly saying it was harder, I guess, to focus or something on the red helmets than it is the white or something like that. He said. The one thing I wish they did was either go. I think I saw helmets with a blue face mask, which looked pretty nasty. Do that. Get rid of the gray, or just go all white. I don't know why the gray was there. I never noticed it until
I like the gray.
I liked it a few games whenever it was that they played with the white face mask, and everybody was like, "Yeah, white face mask. Yeah, white face mask." And I never even noticed the face mask. And now when I'm watching the game, the gray bothers me. I'm like, "Come on, man. Why is there gray? It makes no sense." Uh, you got it, Kenny. Thanks for participating and chiming in and
Yeah,
asking.
man. That was fun, Ken.
Yeah, everybody. The KK show comes on right before hours every Thursday. They have a show on Wednesday as well, and I believe it's Sunday or Saturday. They have
Yeah,
a
great
bunch of
show, great show. I enjoyed it yesterday. You was on there
really good
last night. I didn't even know, and I tuned in. I saw you there. You had some great insight besides the feedback you had in the beginning. But other than that, man, I was kind of a little bit ticked off because you started answering questions like who you think was going to win, the Chiefs. I was like, wait, hold up. Is he a
Yeah.
Buffalo Bills fan or is he a Chiefs fan?
I can't be a hammer, man. You gotta keep it real. And honestly, Kenny answered more bills than I did, I think. But I wanted to say, Allen over Mahomes. You know me, I sip on that Mahomes haterade. I'm like, I sip on the haterade. But I answered, I think, Mahomes once, and I answered Andy Reid as the best coach left in there or in the AFC East. Listen, I love McDermott. He's getting up there, but my thing is Andy Reid has been in this league so long. Yeah, he only won one Super Bowl. He's been to what? Two or three. He's a hell of a coach. You can't take it away from him. McDermott's on the rise, and what him and Bean are doing is great, and there's great chemistry. So I love them. I love McDermott more than Andy, but it was the question they asked me. What else? Josh Allen, like we mentioned before, he said how many team records, how many other NFL records. This guy, to me, hey, how many times has he been player of the week? I think he's been player of the month like twice. The guy's just putting it on. He's going crazy. Let's get you on the show.
I think he was player of the week 4 times, player of the month twice.
Yeah. I mean, come on. This guy's going nuts. We would do the show. I don't know if Vinny will be back from work yet. That might be the only problem. Yeah. He might have to jump on a little late.
Hey man, be on the K&K show. I'll make an exception. I'll come home. I'll call in sick if I have to.
Yeah. Good luck Saturday, guys, and throughout the plays. Have a great night. Thanks for Kenny. Thank you, Kenny.
You as well, Kenny. Thank you, man.
And hopefully we pull the win out, because if they don't win, I don't know if I'm going on any show. I need my little blankie. I might be curled up in bed for a while and not doing anything. So yeah. All right, what else we got?
For the first time in a long time, the Bills are the ones that are going to have the pressure on them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with that. As always, Stephon Diggs, he led the league in catches and receiving yards, and that's the first time in franchise history. So no other Bills has done that before, to lead the league in yards and catches. So kudos to him for his first year with the Bills. This team's just going to get.
What was his total? What was it? 1544 or something like that, right?
Something like that. Yeah. I don't have it offhand right now. And then hey, we talked about it last show, but it wasn't done. It wasn't finalized. They finally did finalize the deal with Kenny Stills, who's on our practice squad, and Gentry, ex-Wyoming teammate of Allen. And also Tyler Croft has been activated from the COVID-19 list, which is good. The guy has some depth. TJ Yeldon has been activated, but I'm telling you right now, if it's me, I'm sitting TJ and I'm starting Williams. That's just me.
Yeah.
TJ really hasn't done much this year. He was hurt, COVID. So I want to see what Antonio Williams could do. He looked like a tank last week. Even though Miami does a good
forward. The best thing I liked about him is he wasn't pushed backwards. Every single run he had, he was running forwards, pulling the power forwards. It's like Lynch, is just going through, just falling forward, getting that extra 1 or 2 yards, which I love. Let me see. We don't want any more hostility.
I don't know if you saw that. I told them last night that when the Bills got to the Super Bowl, we're older guys, people. We're older guys. When the Bills played in the Super Bowl, I watched every game by myself in my room, because I was one of those hostile fans that if you started talking back to me, I'd probably reach over and smack you in the mouth and tell you to leave me alone. So I watched them all by myself, and that's why he's saying no more hostilities. Yeah. So Kenny Stills, one thing I want to do you see him playing? Actually, Cole and Beasley were stretching. Cole's dealing with an oblique issue. Beasley's dealing with his knees. Diggs is dealing with an oblique issue. They were both practicing and stretching. Personally, I would be surprised to see Cole Beasley out there, but he wants to play. But would you even give Kenny Stills time right now?
Well, you see, they asked Sean McDermott this week about Beasley and Diggs. Diggs was online saying something. I saw him saying that he was okay. Don't believe the injury report, that he's like, I'm fine, I'm gonna be okay, which kind of calmed me down. The issue with Beasley, they're signing, Gentry, they signed Stills. So that leads for me to believe that his injury is probably a little bit more concerning than we know. But McDermott is not giving us anything to bite on. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, it's day to day, week to week. He did show up to practice. He was warming up. Salute, bro. We was warming up. I'd love to see him out there, but do you want a Beasley that's going to be 70%, or would you want a Gentry or a Kenny Stills at 100%? You know what I mean? Yeah. But Beasley, let me rephrase it. Even Beasley as a 70% player, I think is better than Gentry and Stills because he knows how to get open in those zones. You know that he's a master in the slot. He's the number one third down receiver. He knows how to get open when there's, they just have that communication, him and Josh. So I'm torn. I hope he could play. I hope he's healthy enough to play because if we have all our weapons, Josh, Beasley, Brown, Davis, and Diggs, I mean, we have an opportunity to go very far, very deep in the playoffs. So it all depends on Beasley. But with the signing, like I said, with the signing of those two other receivers, it's kind of a little bit concerning.
No, I honestly, it's like you said, it's a double-edged sword. You want him because him and Allen usually knows where he's going to be, or he always finds that cushion. But you don't want to put him out there and him get hurt, and you can't have him for the rest of the playoffs. I know it's a win now, but do you really want to get this guy hurt? That's where I'm at a little tossed because even if he goes there, they're going to put him.
If we take a big lead, let's say it's a 14-0 score by the mid-second half, do you pull him out? You know what I'm saying? Because now you have a situation where the Colts are going to have to pass. They're not going to rely on that run game, to catch up. So I think if we jump early and get the lead early, I think they'll pull them out. They'll pull the players that are, such as, Beasley out with that injury. But I could because I thought they pull everybody out after pretty much the first score of the first series, and they stood there, well into the halftime.
Yeah, well, you knew they were going to keep them into half. They weren't going to do that because, you don't want them to come back and win the game or whatever. You want to make sure they're down, and they had a nice lead into halftime. So you were able to do that. They won't do that in the playoffs until maybe the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left. Maybe people in there. The only problem is if you you take Cole and you keep him in there as a spot and he gets hurt in the first or two series, now you're down a wide receiver. It's happened already and, they've won, but this is the playoffs. Do you want to chance that? I'd rather have him and be like at 85, 90% than 70 or 60.
But you got to remember, too, who the head coach is over there at the Colts. You got Frank Wright. He orchestrated the best comeback in NFL history. So, you can't sleep on a head coach like that, on a team like that. But I think if we if we get a good lead on them, because they're mostly run heavy, Jonathan Taylor's a beast. He's a great rookie. He's been putting up crazy numbers. But I think if the key to the game is for us to jump on top of them early. So they're going to have to pass the ball.
I agree. They just need to stop that run. I guess we'll just start talking about this anyway. We're already into it, so we'll talk about some of the other games, I guess, a little later. I mean, honestly, you got to stop the run. That's my main concern. And I didn't know this, but Phillip Rivers is 6. He's won 6 out of 7 games against the Buffalo Bills. All right, it's a different team, but still, he has a winning record against the Bills, and I didn't even know that. I thought it would have been worse. He's won 6 out of the 7 games. He's older now. To me, his ball sits up there a little longer than it should, which is good for us.
Yeah.
Bill's defensive backs got to pick that fruit if it's out there. But the main concern to me is you have to stop the run. And the Bills have been doing a lot better job at controlling the run. Their defense is playing better, like we say, week after week. And look what they did to Miami. I get it's Tua. Phillip Rivers has a lot more experience, better quarterback than Tua is, right now. Physically, okay, you take Tua, but mentally, you're taking Phillip Rivers. You got to force them to pass. That's what you would have to do. We have to force them to pass. We got to stop that run. That's what I'm thinking, playing this team. They have a lot of talent on there. Everybody.
I think if you stop the run and get some good pressure on the quarterback, I think good things are going to happen for the Bills this week.
Yeah, well, I agree. Looking at it, we averaged 31.3 points a game, which is actually second in the league. What was our offense last year? Didn't you predict our offense to be one of the top offenses? I think you said, and you even said Allen was going to be top. I forgot your prediction, but it was better than mine. And so you got those.
Top 3 quarterbacks.
Second offensively in the league, which is insane.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that. But their defense is ranked 10th. So they don't have a bad defense. I think their defense is ranked 10th. Their offense is actually ranked 9th. They have a pretty good offense. Every team in the AFC earned their spot, and how many teams missed the playoffs with a good record?
At 10-5, 10-6. I mean, 11-5.
And they're missing the
That's
playoffs.
rough.
It's rough.
That's rough. Now you as an AFC team that went 10-6 or 11-5 and don't make the playoffs, do you consider that season a failure? Or how do you look at that season in particularly? Because you have a great, it's a nice record. 11-5 is nothing to be shabby about, or 10-6, and not make the playoffs. Do you, like I said, do you consider that a failure as an organization, or do you see it as a stepping stone for the following year, like a good thing?
No, I mean it's a good thing. Okay, you missed the playoffs at 10-6. Why? Because everybody was 11-5. It wasn't that. Yeah. You were a slouch. It wasn't that you were 9-7, or 8-8. You just got beat out because
somebody not like the NFC East.
Yeah. Besides, okay, it was funny because Kyle Bryant from the NFL, Good Morning NFL or whatever it is, tweeted, "Sorry to the Buffalo Bills fans. I picked you to go 12-4, and I didn't even know he picked them to go 12-4. I was surprised, and then he's like, I was wrong. I should have said 13-3 or whatever." So who would have really thought that the Bills were going to be 12-4? Besides some crazy.
Me and you.
Yeah,
Me and you. You called it. Come on now.
No, I know, but
I never thought they'd be 13-3. I mean, they tied the franchise record for most wins. 1991, I believe, they went 13-3. But I never, man. Listen, I was looking at 11-5, 10-6, and then with the acquisition of Diggs, then I moved up to 12-4. But man, I'm so excited that they're 13-3, but you predicted 12-4 from the get.
Yeah.
So you were pretty much on the money.
So, I mean, the professionals didn't have Buffalo doing this, and look at Kansas City losing one game or two games because the one at the end, which didn't really matter. How come nobody in the AFC went crazy because they lost? Nobody saw the Bills doing this. Kansas City only losing one game. I don't think anybody predicted that either. Steelers, well, they ended up, losing. There was a lot of good teams in the AFC this year. It's not the first time in the AFC that a team's missed the playoffs at 10-6. It's not, because it happened to New England once. It happened, I think, to Miami before also. So it just goes to show you got to earn it in the AFC. NFC, the only conference I always said is the AFC West or whatever. You might be able to get in at 9-7 because the Chargers did it a few times. But besides that, the other divisions, you got to earn that spot. So, kudos to them. This is not going to be a walk in the park. These guys are playing at 1 o'clock. It's not going to be easy. I hope they go in there and smack up the Colts defense like they did Miami's. Listen, the Colts, I believe their starting center not saying that, their starting safety and their left out cornerback are out, you know. So I don't think they're playing. So that's good for us if they're missing their starting safety and corner. One of those backup corners or the nickel corners got to slide over and has to deal with either Diggs or Smoke or Davis, and who knows if it's Beasley or who else. Kenny Stills, the only way I would play him, honestly, is if Beasley's out. If not, the receivers that have been there, hey, put them in there. They've earned it. Let McKenzie play in the slot, you know. Let these guys who have put in this time keep that spot. And, you know, if somebody goes down, then you bring in Stills. The kid's got to earn his spot. That's the way I always look at it, you know. Why bring him in? The guys who've been working and putting help or putting their time in the team gets kicked to the side towards the playoffs like this. To me, it wouldn't be cool. But, you know, whatever. Looking at our injury report over here, Cole Beasley, Stephon Diggs, both questionable. I think mainly Beasley's questionable, being that he has his oblique little thing. They have to put him as questionable, I think, per the league. Jake Fromm, we all know, that's just the COVID list. Listen, Feliciano, which is huge. We need everybody to be on point. We cannot afford to have nobody in there. I don't know if you saw in the news. I know we talked about it. They did approve to have 6,770-something fans in the stands. Governor Cuomo wants to go to the game. And the Bills fans started a petition and said, we don't want you here because you didn't allow fans all year. That's a little crazy because, hey, he could have said no fans at all. You know,
I think he gave his ticket to a nurse or something, like a healthcare worker or something to go.
I don't know. He was all pumped to go, but I guess the mafia said, yeah, no. And he said, okay, which I'm surprised because, you know, he could have just been, like I said, no fans at all. You got to give and take a little, mafia. Give and take.
Yeah. Shout out to Wolf Blitzer, too. On his show, he shouted out Bills Mafia and Go Bills. He's a diehard Bills fan, too. But, hey, real quick, before we go, I just want to go over down some stats, if it's okay with you, and then we get into the picks. The team stats for 2021. The Buffalo Bills, the most points in the season ever is 501 points. Most touchdowns in the season was 60. Most wins in the season, you know, tied with 1991 with 13. Josh Allen has the most passing yards in the season with 4,544 yards. Most pass completions in the season with 396. And most touchdown passes in the season with 37. Diggs has most receptions in the season with 127. Most receiving yards in the season with 1,535. Bojorquez, as a punter, has the highest gross punting average in the season with 50.78 yards. And did you see that punt he had in Miami where it skimmed the 1 yard line when he just came in the one? I don't know if you saw it right there at the one. Man, that was a thing of beauty.
I thought it had went over the pylon, but when that replay, I was like, oh man, that was right on point. Sorry, go ahead.
Beautiful. That was beautiful. And Tyler Bass, most points scored by any player in team history during the season with 141. So, I mean, these guys are just breaking records. And they're having fun doing it. They're having fun. That's the beautiful thing about it, is that they're enjoying each other. They're family. You know what I mean? And that chemistry is what's bringing these wins. And you know, when one's down, they just pick each other up. Even McKenzie said, you know, his phone was blowing up after he scored, you know, the 3 touchdowns, 1 punt return, and he gave credit to Diggs for his leadership and showing him what he needed to do in practice and all the little things. And you know what? This day and age, where do you see players like thanking other players? You know what I mean? You don't really see that, and that to me is the camaraderie and the one Buffalo family that I enjoy. And it's just an awesome thing to see.
Yep, and he predicted that punt return to Josh Allen supposedly on the sideline.
Yeah,
he was going to take it to
and
the
Josh said, "Okay, go ahead and score." He asked Josh, and Josh said, "All right, then go score it."
All right, let's move on real quick. Okay. Pittsburgh and Browns, they're matching up again. Pittsburgh's giving up 3.5 right now with all the craziness going on over there. You know, 7 players who might not be playing, their head coach not being there. I think one of the guys is like a starting guard or something. It's big. They barely beat them without Big Ben, even though Mason Rudolph threw for what 300 plus yards. The guy put in a pretty good game. Being that it's home, it seems like it's been 1-1. Whoever was home won the game. I'm going with Pittsburgh. Not that I want to. I'd rather see Cleveland win. I'm rooting for Cleveland, but I think Pittsburgh's just too strong all around. Cleveland, in order to win this game, I would say they need to run the ball and control the clock with Hunt and Chubb. That would be me, what they would have to do, but I think Pittsburgh's going to win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think the Browns do have a chance. I mean, but being that the head coach is going to be out, I don't even know who's replacing him. I think a special teams coach or something is going to replace him. I mean, how does that work? Does he communicate? Huh?
I think Van Pelt's calling the offense. Alex Van Pelt, remember the old Buffalo Bills quarterback?
No quarterback, no kidding.
Yeah, that Jim
But
Kelly.
How does that work? Does the coach? The coach is not even in the building, then, right? He's not even in the stadium.
If he has COVID, he shouldn't be. No, but who knows? The thing is, like, the assistant coach will take over. I believe they said Alex Van Pelt, in that he's the offensive coordinator. I believe he will be calling the plays. That's from what I saw. Like, that's Michelin Man or Pillsbury Doughboy that Jim Kelly used to call. So who you going with, Pitt or Brown?
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of rooting for the Browns, but typical Browns fashion, they find a way to get out of the playoffs pretty much on their own. It's a shame. I think like you, I agree with you. If they run the rock and try to keep Ben and the offense off the field, they have a chance. But other than that, I don't see that happen. They rested Ben. He's an old guy, and an extra week of rest kind of does your body good. You're older fella. I'm an older fella. If you get a week off, you feel a lot better. So I don't know. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to take this one. I got them 24-14 Steelers.
All right. Tennessee, this is a game I actually want to see too, besides the Bills game. This might be my favorite matchup probably of the week. Tennessee and the Ravens, both are 11-5. First meeting, Tennessee, they only played once this year. Tennessee won in overtime, 30-24. To me, this game is going to come down not to the run game, because they both can run. Who could throw the ball better? Who could control the passing game? And I think Tannehill is a better passer than Lamar Jackson. Listen, Lamar Jackson put up consecutive years back-to-back over 1,000 yards rushing. If you're rushing for 1,000 yards as a quarterback, what are you not doing? Throwing the ball.
You're not throwing.
I think this comes down passing game. And I'm going to take Tennessee. Who are you taking?
Ooh. I don't know, man. I think you're a little bit misguided. I think if Lamar Jackson, he does a lot on his feet, but he's a pretty decent pocket passer. I mean, I think he's all right as a pocket passer if he got the time to pass. This is going to be a tough one because I know they're both going to pound the rock this game. It's going to be a heavy dose of Henry. It's going to be you're absolutely right. Whoever passes a little bit better. But I think I'm going to take the Ravens. I think the Ravens are going to win big against the Titans. I think I got them 30-20. The Ravens, yeah. So write that down. Let's see what happens. It's going to be an interesting game for sure. That's the two teams I really didn't want to see. I'm glad we got the Colts to kind of break the ice. This is going to be a good game. This is going to be one of the top games I want to watch this weekend.
I agree. That's my second favorite besides the Bills game. To me, will be that game. Moving on to the NFC, New Orleans and the Bears are playing. New Orleans are 12-4. They're giving up 8.5 to the 8-8 Bears. This is a game like one of those trap games. I could see the Bears, who have been on a roll, possibly winning, but I don't think so. I think New Orleans is just too tough. Alvin Kamara might be playing in this game. If it's on Saturday, he wouldn't have been playing. Being that it's on Sunday, he has a chance of playing. So if he tests negative twice, he's in the game. I think even without him, New Orleans wins.
Ooh. Man, that's. I agree with you. I mean, with Trubisky stepping up, I know Kamara. He's been actually practicing remotely. The team has been practicing. He's been on a separate place, remotely practicing, getting the input from the coaches and everything. It's pretty crazy how technology is this year. Hopefully he passes his test, but the Bears haven't really, beaten anybody, in Denver and everything. So, they're kind of like right there. I don't know. I don't think Trubisky's gonna pull it off, man. I got the Saints, man. I believe the Saints are gonna win. I think it's gonna be a lot closer than we think. I think the Bears are gonna keep it a little bit closer. So I think it's gonna be a low scoring game, like a 21-17 type game. I think Saints gonna take it.
All right. Seattle 12-4 against the Rams, 10-6. Seattle's giving up 4.5. Seattle, to me, you don't have what's his name, the quarterback Goff. He's not sure if he's going to play. If he plays, he'll probably be around 70% instead of they could go with Wilford again, the nephew of the ex-Buffalo Bill. I think Seattle's just too much firepower right now, and if you don't have Goff, I don't think the Rams are winning this one. I'm taking Seattle. And I picked Seattle to go to the Super Bowl, so I'm picking these guys.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a closer game than we expect, even if Goff doesn't play. They always seem to play Russell Wilson really well, the Rams defense. I believe they split their games this year, 1-1. They both won each game when they played each other twice. So I think this is going to be a tough one. I think it's going to be another close game. But I think I'm with you. I think Seattle's going to pull it off. I got them like 24-21 Seattle.
All right, moving on to the last game. Washington, winners of the NFC East at 7-9, are hosting a game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 11-5. Tampa's giving up 7.5. Listen, this is my upset of the week, I think, because Alex Smith should play this game. And if he does play this game, I think this defensive line and this defense keeps him in the game. And I think they pull it out in the end, and they upset the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, man. This was one of those games I was pondering on all day. Like, man, just looking at the rivals, if you get Chase Young and them guys those guys up front to pressure Brady, you know how Brady reacts to pressure. Look what happened with the Giants. Look what happened. All the teams that actually get to Brady, Brady can't handle it that well. I mean, he's the best quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but there has been teams that had his number in terms of pressure. When he gets pressure, he doesn't react well to pressure. If Washington could get pressure on Brady, I think Washington can pull it off. But if they can't get to him, I think Brady's going to have a field day on him. That's the way I look at it. So I'm not even going to call this game, to be honest with you. I'm not even going to call a winner because it depends. It depends. Like I said, if Washington front can get to Brady, I think Washington wins. But if not, Brady's going to blow him away. So I don't know. I'm not even going to go there with that.
What kind of predicament is that? What kind of prediction is that? Listen,
because I've been thinking about it all day, man. It's a tough one. I think they could. I think the Washington they play good. They play well, So
yeah.
Oh man, you want me to throw one out there? Okay, I'm gonna throw it out there. I'll pick Tampa Bay. How about that? But by real close, by 1 point type game. How about that?
1 point. That's still a pretty crazy prediction. Listen, real quick.
Let me finish. Hold on. I'm saying 1 point if there's pressure. Wait. It's 1 point if there's pressure, but if he gets no pressure, it'll be a blowout. How about that? I'll split the difference. How about that?
Listen, if the Bears score 4 touchdowns and the Saints only scored 3, I'm picking the Bears to win. How about that? That crazy talk you talking over there, man.
Shut up, man.
All right. I was having issues with my Facebook page before, so I have some comments over here. My buddy, old time friend, like a father to me, John Latrada, can say, "What's up, Will? Looking good. Thanks, John." My buddy also Nestor, he's commented on the show before. He's a Giant fan, but the difference was this year in fantasy, he drafted Josh Allen, and guess what? He won the league. Why? Because of Josh Allen. He had a pretty good team though. He's like, yeah, my Bills are going all the way. You're not a Bills fan, man. Stop it. No jumping on the bandwagon. Also, my buddy over here, another Giant fan, Dan, he's like, if you don't WWE through a table during the show, did it really happen? We have no tables. We're shooting from my home, Dan. And I'm too old to be going through tables. But here, I'll do this one. Look at that. Bam! There you go. There was one table. Somebody get thrown through a table. Also, Bobby,
Hey, there was a little video. I don't know if you saw it circulate. I should have sent it to you of Andre Reed jumping on the table from a tree. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he climbed the tree and just jumped on it. I should have sent it to you so we could put up. You know what? We'll do that for next week. I'll pull it up and we'll play it for next week. But it was pretty cool.
Right. I mean, we touched on the Bills and Colts game. Bills right now are giving 6.5. Bills are 3-3. Colts are 11-5. You know, which is crazy is that, like I said, Phillip Rivers was 6-6, has won 6 out of 7 games against the Bills. Hopefully, we change that. I think the Bills win this game. I think they need to run the ball. I say it all the time, but they need to add the run more. And if not, just take those 3-4 yards, keep the ball moving like they've been doing all year long. Stop the rush. If they're running a lot, hey, Frazier, run the 4-3. You have Klein, Milano, and Edmonds. 3 nasty linebackers you could put out there if you can't stop that run. You know, don't be prideful. Adjust the game if you have to. And that's it, man. I'm going with the Bills.
Yeah,
what about you?
I'm with you. I'm with you, except the running part. I think these guys are they're in such a zone right now. I mean, look what they did with Miami. I think they're going to jump on and get a lead quick, 14-0 by the first quarter. And I think they're just going to keep building on it. I think they're not going to take the pedal off. I think if we get the lead, a quick lead, that's not going to let the Colts run on us. But if it's a closer game within the first quarter and they're running, I think we're gonna be in for a dogfight. But if we jump on them 14-0, I think sky's the limit. These guys, I don't think we're gonna run. I think we're just gonna pile it on like we did to Miami.
Yep. Well,
so I got the Bills 32-21.
All right, that's a pretty nice win right there. Weather for Buffalo, I haven't checked, but at one point they were saying like in the 20s, but I don't know if that's
supposed
changed.
to be chilly. According to Steve Tasker, it might be chilly.
What?
So we'll see you in Buffalo in
According
January.
to Steve Tasker, it might.
There it is. There it is.
Be ready.
Be ready.
It might be chilly.
Yeah, this is what we would need. We would need some of this. Well, that might not be happening. I think, like I said, the weather was calling for like in the 20s. I'm not sure, something like that. But anyway, who knows? All we know is that we need the Bills to continue this roll, continue to win, put in the work, keep their minds straight. They're all having a good time, which is great. You see them in practice, dancing, having fun, you know, just showing each other love, all good stuff. And by the way, did you see Benny the Butcher's song that they're using?
Yeah, the real rap song. Yeah.
Yeah.
Play it. You got it?
We got it here.
We the mafia.
We the mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, Bills mafia.
I know who the beats in the AFC East. We gon' grind this thing out for 17 weeks, yeah. You hating on the Bills, then you way off. Talk is cheap, meet us in the playoffs. Game day, you know we going off. Got your team captain shaking at the coin toss. We say mafia, that mean family to me. Cause we stand with the team, best fans in the league.
Bills mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia, Bills mafia, Bills mafia, we the mafia. Let's go Buffalo, let's go Buffalo, let's go Buffalo, let's go
Woo, that was some fire. On that note,
Yes, sir.
we'll say peace out. Good night. Viva los Bills. Go Bills. Let's go Buffalo. And hopefully we're calling next week. Let's go. Go get them. Peace out. Adios. Nos vemos.